In the 18th century BC, in the fertile land of Mesopotamia, a man changed the history of civilization forever. His name was Hammurabi, king of Babylon. With a firm hand and an unshakable will, Hammurabi carved in stone the first great code of laws ever known. It was not just a gesture of power. It was a declaration of order, of justice, of absolute control over a tumultuously growing society. The Code of Hammurabi was not a simple list of rules. It was a vision of the world, an attempt to harness chaos, to give meaning to daily life in an age where violence and uncertainty were the norm. The code was made up of 282 articles, precise, ruthless, implacable. It regulated every aspect of social life: marriage, inheritance, commercial contracts, crimes and their punishments. The founding principle was clear and powerful, so that the strong do not oppress the weak. But beware, Hammurabi's justice was not the same for everyone. Depending on one's social rank, the same action was punished differently. A free man, a vassal, a slave. Each had a different value before the law. The code is famous for having codified the principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If a man broke another man's bone, his own was broken. If he falsely accused someone of murder without being able to prove it, he was put to death. But retaliation was not applied uniformly. If the damage was inflicted on a person of lower rank, compensation was paid in money. Justice, yes, but stratified, rooted in social hierarchy. One of the most modern aspects of the Code of Hammurabi is the idea of professional responsibility. If a builder built a house that collapsed and killed the owner, the builder was put to death. If a doctor operated with a knife and caused the death of the patient, his hand was amputated. Hammurabi did not allow for mistakes. Those who made mistakes paid. There were no excuses. There was no mercy. Even family relationships were strictly regulated. If a son hit his father, his hand was cut off. If a wife cheated on her husband, she was thrown into the river. Yet, despite its harshness, the code recognized some important rights, especially for women. A woman could own property, manage property, ask for a divorce. Hammurabi knew that protecting the weak, at least in part, was necessary to maintain order. He was not just a legislator, he was a visionary. With his code, he tried to build a stable, durable society capable of surviving time. Hammurabi's code was not just an instrument of government, it was also a religious instrument. The law came from above. Hammurabi received it directly from Shamash, god of the sun and justice. Not respecting the law meant not only violating the earthly order, but also offending the divine. This greatly strengthened the king's authority. The stele on which the code was engraved is about 2 meters high, carved in the hard diorite, a virtually indestructible stone. At the top, Hammurabi is depicted in front of Shamash, not as a subject, but as an interlocutor, chosen to bring justice among men. In 1901, the stele was discovered in Susa, Iran, brought there by the Elamites who had stolen it during a war. Today it is preserved in the Louvre in Paris. Thousands of visitors every year look at those ancient words carved in stone and wonder about the origin of justice. The Code of Hammurabi inspired not only later Mesopotamian civilizations, but also Roman law and, indirectly, modern concepts of law. Even today, the idea that the law should be clear, public, applicable to all, finds its roots in that ancient stele. Hammurabi died after turning Babylon into an empire. But his legacy transcended the boundaries of time. When we think of the law as a tool to protect the weak, to punish the guilty, to bring order to chaos, we are still following the path traced thousands of years ago between the Tigris and the Euphrates. It was not perfect, that law. It was harsh, brutal, merciless, But in a world where abuse was the norm, Hammurabi dared to think that even the peasant, the slave, the merchant had the right to protection. He dared to think that justice was not only for the powerful. He dared to carve in stone the dream of an eternal order, and in doing so, he engraved his name in history. In your opinion, was Hammurabi's code really an instrument of justice, or just a brutal way to maintain power? Would you like to live in a world where every mistake can cost you your life? Write it in the comments. I want to hear your voice. And if you love these journeys into history, sign up to Storiando. The next epic awaits you.